You're the first person I've seen coming into the room. Lovely to have you here with us. Hey, Edna, how are you? As more people join us. Hey, Nate, lovely of you to be here with us. Laura, I see you too. Erica, I see you as well. We have a few people joining us, but as we continue to welcome them, let me start by again inviting you into this beautiful space that we are co-creating we have co-created for us today. As others are joining, I want to invite you to just feel really comfortable uh, in the space. Ground yourself by taking a deep breath. Really wonderful to see you. Really wonderful to see you. And we'll just take a few moments so that a few of us can enter into the space. And we had a kind of like a prompt to warm us up for the day. And Ines is going to be putting that in chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I want to hear something interesting that you've heard this week. Could be something funny, could be something strange, could be something awkward, could be something maybe awful, but not too awful. Don't want to share anything that's going to make you feel awkward afterwards. But let us start by warming ourselves with this prompt. So, what's one thing you've had this week, whether funny, surprising, strange, or curious? Drop it in the chat so that we can all warm our ears up. Welcome, welcome to the space, everyone. Edna, it's been a while since I've seen you. It's really wonderful to have you here. We have more bus entering. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Brian. I see you. What's one thing you've had this week, whether funny, surprising, strange, or curious, that you might be willing to share with the rest of the space? If you want to unmute, you can go ahead and do so. I'll just keep quiet for 1 minute and give us a chance to take in that question. And whenever you're ready, please feel free to put it in chat. Welcome, welcome for those who are joining us. We have a prompt that's been set up there in chat by Ines. What's one thing you've had this week? Whether it was curious, surprising, strange, or funny that you might want to share with us. I see you, Hilary. Welcome into the space. Maya. Hello, Maya. Hi, Naomi. Welcome into the space. Come on, people. Let's warm ourselves up. It's been, what day is it today? It's Thursday. You must have had something that you could probably share with us today, or you might have read something. Ah, the heat in the UK. Ari, I hear you. Uh, a funny thing that someone was saying is that the same temperature in UK is not the same temperature here in Nairobi. I don't know how true that is. Nate, you were just in Nairobi a few days ago. Do you think that's true? Law, you heard that aliens were coming during the Brazil football match. I have so many questions. I have so many questions, but thank you for bringing a smile to my face. Erica, in a meeting about rural community halls as gathering places and resilience centers, you asked an opening questions about participants' heartstrings connection to rural community halls. The responses were beautiful. The smell of wood, the sound of creaking claws, the labor of love, the potential, the gatherings, the most amazing heartfelt connections. Erica, that sounds so beautiful. It's what I'm trying to emulate here. So please bring that same energy. Edna, the heat is turning maize to look like grass. Yeah, I agree, but nothing compared to the UK. Michael, I want to hear from you as well. Hillary, Maya, we still have a couple of voices left. What's one funny, a strange, a curious thing that you had today? I'll give it one more minute and then we'll start from there. If you want to unmute, you can go ahead and mute and unmute yourself also.
Hi, well, my name is Michael. I work for the IKEA Foundation, lead our work on agriculture. I'm not sure exactly what you want me to say, but is that just the introduction?
Michael, I had actually asked us to share one thing that we had this week. It could be something that was funny, something that was strange, something that was curious, whatever it is, but it just kind of like stayed in your head. And yeah, you can share it. Yeah. If there's one that comes to mind. No worries, Maya, that is perfectly
Yeah,
fine. Perfectly fine.
sure. All right.
Okay, perfect. So thank you everyone for joining us today. A few of us were not here in our first session. So if this is the first take you're having of this, and maybe let me read Brian's first. You read about elephants and that they hold family reunions for hours and hours. Oh, and you're imagining what they talk about in those hours. Oh, thank you, Brian, for sharing that. That's just an invitation for each one of us. No worries, Hilary, we understand that. This warm-up activity was an invitation for us to truly come into this space from a place of wanting to not only connect with each other and to think about the work that we do in a much nuanced way, but also to bring in that spirit of listening to each other, being able to be influenced by our stories, by our lived lives. And we have the perfect gathering here to be able to do so. We've gathered here a few regrantors and a few funders from different parts of Africa and Europe, South America, Asia. Some of them cannot make this time zone. And I just want to welcome you all for giving us 90 minutes of your time to think about what happens when people truly, appreciate listening to one another. I'm going to be your host for the day, Beverly. My co-host, Brandon, who a few of you have seen, is unfortunately unwell, but I am joined by Ines. If you have any technical issues throughout the day, there is Ines waving. Please feel free to reach out to her and we'll be able to help you out. So to kick us off for what is probably gonna feel like a quite intimate space for a few of us, I wanna just take some time to ground us in our session today. So the listening fields were an invitation for us to actually wonder or ask ourselves, why is it that in the climate space, stories aren't really centered as well as they could be able to, and why power still feels very much a misaligned thing. And we've gotten to where we are today via a group of about 6, 7 individuals who went through a bit of a collaborative journey to think about what is the space, the climate justice space surfacing recently, and not as some areas of potential heat that we could gather around and try to actually navigate in a different way. And the thought behind the listening fields was that we could be able to actually bridge the gap between powers, the gap between location via a few small scale experiments. But for us to get to those experiments, it was imperative that we were able to sit in a circle, to sit across each other in a table, and in a sense or in a spirit of partnership, to truly ask ourselves, what happens if I can be able to come outside of my role, come outside of the misconceptions or the preconceptions I have of the climate space, and actually think from the experiences of others. Others who probably have to sit down and look at metrics and look at data. Others whose work actually allows them to be frontline community workers. So they are the ones who are impacted directly by the decisions that are made in the climate funding space. And the perception here, or the spirit we are bringing here, is that none of those sides matters more than the other. No one has a voice that is much louder than the other, but together in a spirit of, or in an energy that allows for that coherence through conversation, we can be able to find a common ground that hopefully feels like it answers a lot of these questions that come up. So the listening fields are about rebalancing that conversation, as I've said, and truly letting stories be the centerpiece of what we do. And at the end of the day, as I've said, the idea is that based on the stories that come out in our circle, this being the second of three circles that we have curated as the FITO team and as the CJRF team, then we can be able to slowly draw ourselves into those small experimentation phases. So just a quick recap of what happened last time. A few of us went into some personal stories and ideations of what exactly or how exactly we found us doing the work that we do. And that kind of like drew some of these themes that you see on your screen, the place of trust and proximity in our work as climate justice practitioners, whose knowledge truly counts, the hunger to continue to center relationships in the climate justice work, as opposed to it being a truly what you would think of as maybe a practical or a process that traditionally feeds on data, trying to put people back into the equation. And today we build up on that, continuing with the same theme of how do we actually ask ourselves to look at stories differently. We are gonna look at, we are gonna actually, the theme of today is what do stories ask of us? And we have a set of activities that are gonna direct us into in these two parts that you see here, recognizing the power of stories in shaping climate, but also start that process of surfacing patterns and questions that could move us as regrantors, as community leaders, as network leaders, as grassroots mobilizers towards collective actions in those experiments that I was talking about. So I invite you to take in the session today through various tools that Ines and I have come up with that's gonna see us going into some small pair reflections. We're also gonna take the time to be a little bit creative, take our writing pads, take our, our drawing sketchbooks and whatnot, and circumnavigate a few questions or a few reflections that will come our way. And I'm just gonna leave you with some of those quotes or some of those reflections that came out in our in our first gathering, and you can see how we really took the time to think about how nature or how our childhood brought us to the places we are right now. The same themes around whose knowledge counts. And here's one that I really loved, that silence revealed more than any report could capture. What people were not saying shaped everything. And with that little bit of grounding, let me stop sharing my screen. And with that, a little bit of grounding in space for us, I'm gonna actually ask us to segue into our first soft landing into the space. And we're gonna go into some pairs. We are about, yeah, we're gonna go into two pairs. And there is a prompt for us that Ines has put in chat. Naomi, lovely response you have there. So think of a moment in your work, life, or something you witnessed where a story changed how you understood a challenge or a possibility. Quite an expansive question. But just go back in time and think to a moment in your work where you witnessed a story or a narrative come up and it changed how you understood a challenge or a possibility. And I'm gonna just give us 1 minute to reflect on that question. And we each have about 3 minutes to narrate to our pair, to the person in our pair group. And there are no wrong or right answers here. And whenever you're ready, Ines, just let me know. And we're gonna open our rooms.
Of course, if anyone is not able to join because they are just listening, just let me know so the other person isn't alone in the room. But I will start contributing the room. Give me 1 second. Okay. And opening the rooms.
If you have any problem joining, just let me know or let Ines know, and I will see you all back here in 7 minutes. Have fun. Michael, I've put you in room 6. There you go. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. I think everyone joined, which is good.
Yeah, everyone has joined.
I put the clock on.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
Hello, I
Uh,
am well.
Welcome to the space. You've just found us. We are about 2 minutes away from closing our breakout rooms.
Okay.
Um, yes, and the question that we had asked of
hmm
others, you found us actually just starting. It was thinking of a moment in our work or life where a story actually changed how we understood a challenge or possibility. Yeah, and we
Great
are
question.
centering. Yeah, just to give you a very quick centering or grounding, today's theme is all around using stories as evidence. So, us as we grantors and funders and movement leaders, trying to actually see how us ourselves understand the importance of stories and whether we truly appreciate using stories in the work that we do.
Mm,
Yeah. So, welcome to
okay.
the
Thank you. Thank you for the update.
You're welcome. And we are also joined by Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. Hello, Ines.
Hi, Michael. Nice to see you.
And there
Are you
you are, Ryan. Yeah. Ryan, we are in breakout groups. Michael has also just joined us. And we asked a question around a moment where in time in our life or in our work where a story had changed how we understood a possibility or a challenge. And the idea behind this is to truly ground ourselves in the importance of storytelling as a tool of evidence in our work as climate justice regranters and granters and community leaders. And we are just closing our rooms in 45 seconds or so. So welcome both Ryan and Michael, and I hope you do get to enjoy this session.
Thank you again.
You're welcome, Michael. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those spaces. Ari, I see the smile on your face. That must mean you actually enjoyed it. Erica, as well. Beautiful, beautiful. Smiling and glowing. Wonderful. A few of us have joined us. We have Ryan and Michael also in the space. Welcome, Ryan and Michael. And before we even proceed, I truly wanted to ground us in what it means to participate in this space we are in, because we're not just coming in as people who constantly have to make decisions or who have to interact with climate justice workers, but because this is our opportunity to truly help the field to reimagine what can happen when barriers are removed and we get to listen to one another. So this is our way of not only prototyping what listening is, but also kind of like providing that strategical element that helps us to think of how to experiment in a meaningful way with one another. So this is just a growth of the initial group of 6, 7 people that started this circle. And we have one of us here, Edna. Edna, I'm not so sure if you can be able to unmute yourself uh, or even say hi. But I wanted to actually acknowledge that this is a journey made up of a lot of collaborative voices in it. Uh, Erica, just because I really appreciate your smile, do you mind sharing what your group felt like? Not what you talked about, just what it felt like.
Sure. It felt generative and generous. we really landed on things that changed our changed our minds was getting past thinking that there's a binary, that it's either or, that things can be both and at the same time, and how that is initially it kind of breaks your brain a little bit, but then it's totally liberating for that. So, and I just love hearing about those opportunities. I think my favorite thing in the world is feeling or hearing somebody else say, wow, I never thought about it like that. It's just like, I love that. So yeah, it felt like I was in the room with a kindred spirit, and yeah, it really resonated. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Erica. Edna, I do want to put you on the spotlight as well. If you're able to talk, let me know if you can't. But what does it feel for you watching this circle expand from a group of 6 to a group of 30? What are the spirits behind the co-creation team that you bring with you here today? If you can be able to talk, Edna.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you. Vivali, I hope you can hear me well. I'm in the community, so the network isn't that good and handling an emergency situation. Nevertheless, I'm glad I joined the conversation. I think first thing, any conversation come to fruition is really interesting, and also seeing diverse groups of people who have diverse perspectives. It's always nice, and I think it's inspiring because also you get to listen to different perspectives. We all have different perspectives that some resonate with us, some don't, but also it's interesting to see the way we want to shape narratives, and I enjoyed having the conversation with Michael, you know, and it was brief but really enriching for a short time, and it's always nice to see growth and also opportunities where we're able to listen to each other from the global south and also other actors and trying to shape narratives that we've always grappled with, you know, and I think it's nice to see also having a space where we are also trusting of each other, you know, to have a conversation and to share. Yeah, so that's it for me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Edna, for sharing that. I appreciate you. So we've had a soft landing into trying to actually ground ourselves as narrators in the work that we do, and trying to understand how we can actually leverage stories as a form of evidence in the work that we do. We had a short activity, a little fun one, but I wanted us to reverse engineer. What does it look like to actually not give stories a chance to create any influence whatsoever? And Ines is gonna be kind enough to put the prompt in chat for us here. But what I want is for you to give me all the ingredients or all the scenarios that you can think of that impedes stories from actually being a useful tool for us as climate justice workers and as storytellers. If we want to build a climate ecosystem where stories never shape decisions, they never shape priorities or any funding practices, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? What do we need to do? If we wanted to build an ecosystem where stories don't matter, they have no say, they can't change a thing, what do we need to do? Think about that for a second. You had to, Erica. What would that look like for you? Course. That's the baseline. We stop listening. What else do we do? What do we see happening in our own communities, in our own work, in our own societies that actually prevent us from being able to allow stories to change us? Think about that for a minute. Hillary, thank you for providing that lens. Sorry, Hillary. Removing the human element from the work that we do by concentrating on the technical reports. It only funds spreadsheets. Not centering communities, yeah. Ignoring those non-numerical information, exactly, dehumanizing the work that we do. I lose hope. Ugh, like that. Ignoring lived experience. Let's see a few more. Consider people as robots. Do to community, not with community. Exactly. Navigate the politics and the politics. I love your answers. Think about them and keep sharing them. And I encourage you to really be generous with your thinking because all these things that are coming from our chat, from our breakouts, they lead us very smoothly towards what could we experiment on? Where is there heat? Where are we actually seeing a lot of us converging? Luis, welcome to the space. You've just joined us. Thank you so much, everyone, for all of this, focusing on data. We keep on hearing the same things, data, and not giving lived voices a chance to also shine as much as those other numerical figures as well. Loving the perspectives from both funders and from community leaders as well. Thank you, everyone, for that. And I want you to hold on to some of these themes that are emerging in this space as we kind of like go into part of this activity that I truly love. It's usually our chance to let me just read this last one from Naomi. Okay, you're thanking Albert. Okay, that's fine. This is one part of what we do that I really love, where we get to retreat into our own minds for a little while. And I'll ask us if we can to reach out for a writing pad and a piece of paper if we can. But it doesn't end there. We're gonna do some free writing, but we wanted to actually invite us to do it a bit differently. So for those of us who wanna use this next 10 minutes to probably record themselves on the phone as they're thinking, why don't we try that? Why don't we prototype that? We will be going into some more in-depth breakouts, and these 10 minutes of a quiet reflection will be based on a prompt that we're gonna put there. If you want to use the opportunity to write, that's fine. To type on your laptop, that's fine. To draw or sketch, that's also fine as well. All the mediums that you can think of, it's fine. And Ines will be putting the chat, the prompt chat right now. We all have to start with the words once upon a time in my work. Ines, just putting it here. But once upon a time in our work, where have we actually seen, or let me rephrase this and ask us to think of a time, not of a time, but a story that emerges from our work or from a community that still feels unfinished. The reason why we are doing this activity is so that we can be able to identify the stories that reveal where climate system still has quite a lot of work to do. So we're going to think of a story emerging from our work or our community or our ecosystem that still feels unfinished. A story that maybe has not yet been fully appreciated, been fully heard, or just been given the chance to surface. And we each have to start our narratives with once upon a time. That's the only caveat to this. Think of a story emerging from your climate work or community or ecosystem that still feels unfinished. A story that has not been fully understood, heard, resourced, or acted upon. Tell us that story. We're gonna take 8 minutes. So we're just still warming up. We're gonna take 8 minutes and write, draw, sketch, record our voices, whatever feels like it's gonna invoke that part of you that can go back in time and reflect. Let's do that. And we'll take this silent reflection for about 8 minutes. And there are no big or small stories here. You could be telling perhaps a community-led project that you knew had potential, but the story of its impact just wasn't fully heard, or it just never moved forward in funding. Maybe there was a local climate initiative, but the lived expertise of the people involved just wasn't fully recognized or fully resourced. So there's no big or small story here. Just share from your own experience. As we are thinking about our stories, I also want to ask us to incorporate those elements of the people, paint the people, paint the what, paint the why, and paint the how in your own words. But let's see that full picture forming that allows us to see our work in the climate justice depending on relationships and systems and processes. We have 2 more minutes. Welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Now let's take the next few minutes to appreciate our roles as storytellers and as listeners by reliving the accounts that are in our notepads or in our tablets or our laptops or the sketches that we have done with 2 other people. We're gonna go into trios. So this is the part where we get to relax and we get to hear people actually narrating the work that they do, and therefore helping us to actually see what are the things that we ourselves have left unfinished in our work and in the ecosystem as a collective. What do the unfinished stories truly reveal about those realities that are overlooked, about those needs that are usually unmet, and the wisdoms that we just don't necessarily get to appreciate? We'll each have 3 minutes to share in our trios. And then after we finished sharing, we're gonna give a minute for your listeners to reflect back what they hear from your sharing. Ines, if you're ready, you're just gonna let me know. We are gonna be doing this next activity for the next 20 minutes. So we each have ample time to hear from one another and to get reflections from one another. And I will request that as we are listening in our trios, we think of how to summarize maybe the one thing that has surprised us or has energized us or has some of the gaps we see, whatever that could be, like, so that we can be able to just also enjoy your retelling when we meet again in the plenary. So go into your rooms. If every person has 3 minutes and 1 minute of feedback, and we will be giving you prompts so that we can be able to switch. So don't mind about that time. And then as you're listening, just think about what has surprised you, what patterns have emerged. And I will see you again in 20 minutes. I hope you're enjoying talking to one another and listening to each other as much as I do. Ines, let me know. Good. Again, as always, if you have any problem joining your room, please let me know.
I It's true, completely
Okay.
agree.
Hmm. There we come back.
Yeah. I'm out.
Welcome back to the space. And let's wait for all groups. Yeah, we have all of us are here right now. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for sharing that, Erica. I appreciate it. Let's listen to what. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate you being here as well. Thank you. I want to give us an opportunity to just listen to what happened in our groups. We had about four of them. The first group had Brian, Flo, and I believe it was Nate who had to leave, if
It
I'm
was
not.
night. Yeah, he had to leave. Yeah.
Thank you, Flo. And yeah, on one of you, Brian, Flo, if you don't mind sharing a little bit of how your group was like, what are just some of the themes that felt universally overarching for the three of you, or some of those, unresolved aspects of the work that we do that emerged? Whichever angle, please feel free to share what came out from your group.
Brian, would you like to share?
And you can also
I don't know.
type as well. That's fine.
No, it's okay. I will share. It was really nice and interesting. We had a nice conversation, and what resonated us is that every process is different, because we have to adapt ourselves as leaders into the context that we are working with the people that we are working with. So our conversation ended rounding out up into making or into adapting our work for the specific needs of that situation, and also into living the stories with making us questions, like when you finish some process, what questions are left of that process, and trying to give an answer to that question, trying to look for solutions to that unsolved problems or unfinished businesses, to move forward into new projects or ideas. So I hope Brian, I explained it correctly, but it was mostly around that, the conversation.
Mm.
And it was really nice to share time with him also.
Thank you, Flo, for that. Brian, I don't know if you want to add anything else, please feel free to do that in chat. Adaptation, and also just taking the time to reflect on our processes and letting them, help us to see the vision ahead. I really appreciate that, because it's the spirit behind what we are doing as well. There's so many stories on how much the listening fields has had to adapt to what we have been hearing. And honestly, just taking a lot of space to reflect on whether we are responding to questions that are coming up. So thank you so much, Flo, for that. Group two, Luis, Ari, Alicia. We have a lot of the smilers in this group. If any of you could volunteer to share what your group talked about, or the stories that came up.
Sure. So there's some notes from Louise in the chat about different themes that wove through some of our stories. There was a real distinct theme of power struggle, of those having the power to listen or to solve, not taking the time, not building the trust, and particularly not having the courage to try something new. We may know that systems aren't working in climate justice, but it takes a lot of bravery to leave those systems behind, and to be curious and willing to discover what lies beneath those systems. Yeah, it was we were in different places all over the world, but still these narratives were the same between us. So there was something that felt really powerful about sharing that space. So feeling grateful for that.
Thank you, Ari. I love those themes, courage, curiosity. As you know, engines to drive us to try new ideas, to try new perspectives. And the same issue around power struggles that a lot of us are identifying as well. Thank you so much, Ari, for that. Our third group had Ritu. Michael has already left. Ritu and Hilary in it. We'd love to hear what your conversation felt like, what it was about. Any of you can volunteer.
The Michael that was in our group is still on. A different Michael left. So we have Michael Lennon.
Michael is still here.
I'll do my
Hello.
best, but we had 3 stories that one was they kind of like got lower down to the community. There was one that was quite broad on like world building. There was one that was more about institutions and an ecosystem, and there was one that was quite down to the community level. But what we found as we were telling these stories is it's quite natural or easy to focus on a problem and to like draw listeners in with a big problem, and then it's not as easy to like come up with solutions or an action point for these big world problems. And then we talked a bit, some of the themes across the stories were around risk and innovation, and what it means to like be brave for philanthropy, or for communities to like step up and be brave in what they need, and like having the agency to like define themselves what's tangible versus intangible, and even though NGOs or philanthropies might define it differently. That's probably a basic summary, but those are some of the themes that came out, and Michael or Ritu can add.
Thank you so much for that, Hilary. Ritu, Michael, please feel free to also include in chat anything that resonated for you as well. Hilary, bringing up just how important it is to differentiate what feels tangible and intangible. And a lot of us get shiny objects, thrown our ways that invite us to participate in different things because the vision is so grand, is so beautiful, but it's always the execution element that is never easy to do. So I totally appreciate that. And I also love the fact that a lot of these human elements, curiosity, courage, are really coming up in the stories that we are sharing, because it reminds us that we are anchoring this journey of ours in relationships and in trust. So it's good that that's something that resonates across the board for us all. Yes. Cute kid, I agree. And then finally, we have the fourth group. This is where Michael left, which had Edna and had Erica in it. Edna, Erica, who feels called upon to share?
Edna, do you think you could summarize? Oh,
Yeah,
can take a stab.
and you can add on, Erica. Yeah, I think we had good conversation and also sharing between the 3 of us, and had some unique emerging patterns, which resonates with some of already shared in terms of importance, really, in terms of why it's important to invest time in learning, you know, and also the time and the resource required really to build that when we want to center communities. And also sometimes the question in terms of looking at scale, sometimes some things don't have to be scaled, and with that needs to be known what can be scaled, what can't be, and also it's on whose terms are we scaling up, and also the importance of looking at who's leading the change, you know, in the work that we do. And so in terms of that, like in terms of one small step, it's really starting with committing resources in terms of building trusted relationship, because that's important, because we all are working with different communities and can see the gaps and the challenges they face, and that could be the starting point as well for the work that we do. So maybe Erika can add a few.
I think, thank you, Edna. You covered off a lot of it there. The only thing I would really add to that is, you know, is that on the scaling topic, that there are some times on whose terms are we scaling, and do we need to scale, I think is also another question that needs to be asked. You know, I think our themes really came out with about trust, and also just acknowledging that those of us that are working directly with communities, whether they're marginalized communities or rural communities or urban communities, they know what they need. And we need to respect that. And that's why it's so important to have those relationships, because there will be power dynamics walking in the door. So you, especially coming from a funder's perspective, there's always a power dynamic. So how taking the time to build those relationships means that you're going to actually be putting your effort towards things that might actually move the needle, as Michael commented earlier. Thanks, Edna, for kicking us off.
I don't want to add anything to that, Erica, just well summed up. Again, bringing in the themes of trust, relationships, and what it actually means to scale, and whose voices matter, whose terms, as you've said, are needed for that to happen. And this community that we have built has been a testament to all the things that each and every one of you is talking about. This community started with just 6 individuals who were invited into this space by the Climate Justice Resilience Fund to think about what exactly does the field need right now. What exactly would be required for us to be able to see the importance of stories, and for us to really reflect on our own lived experiences and how that can help us shift the needle in our space. We've had about 8 months of building relationship, 8 months of trying to figure out, are we scaling right? Are we respecting the voices who started this journey as well? Are we incorporating those elements of trust in the process as well? And also just that adaptability layer that you spoke about. I believe, I can't remember who it was, but that adaptability aspect of it as well is something that this community has sort of like helped us to see. And I want to talk a little bit about what the next steps look like, because now we do shift our practice a little bit. We have grown to a community of about 30 of us who truly believe that through the space such as this that we have created, we can be able to emerge themes, and we have been doing that beautifully. And we can use those themes to see where we can bring in our own expertise, we can bring in our own resources, we can bring in our own tools, and try and shift the needle by experimenting. See what's tangible and what's intangible. So back to the things that we were talking about. So there is one final such circle that's awaiting us before we actually break into this experimental phase that I'm talking about. And the third circle will be happening a month from now. You will get communication. And there has been a lot of moving pieces that many of us can't be able to see. A lot of asynchronous, reflections and inputs by both movements, regrantors, and funders. And we've done a spectacular job of collecting so many stories, so many insights, so many reflections, so many conceptions and misconceptions that could probably fill a book. And the next step will actually see us. Thank you so much, Ritu. We really appreciate you and hope to see you in the third circle. Our third circle is going to invite us to actually organize ourselves around these heat themes that we have been surfacing for so many months. Really think about the processes and systems involved in truly collaborating on small experiments and what that means for each of us individually, for our work as funders, as regranters, as movement leaders. So I thank you all so much for being patient as the picture unfolded, for allowing yourselves to truly be impacted by the stories that have surfaced and the stories that will continue to surface, and to help us as the FITO team see what it is that we could be able to organize around. So do look forward to that communication that's coming up. I'm so excited to finally be able to kick off these small scale experiments after so many months of talking and storytelling, which have been wonderful. And yes, there is so much for us to sort of like put together to kick this off next week. So I want to appreciate you all once again for your stories and for everything, for your perspective. And I'm just gonna invite Ines to kind of like transition us into the closing segment with a little exercise. And as always, the stories that have come up, please bring them with you in the third circle as well. If there is someone else's stories that you'd love to hear more of, please let us know. We are collecting them and we are gonna use them. We promise. We promise. So, Ines, I'm gonna give the mic to you now.
Thank you, Beth, and thank you, everyone. I think it was a great session, and I appreciate you all for being here. So before we leave, today we would like to close in the same spirit as we opened. So it is by listening. And in a moment, I'm going to ask everyone to close their eyes. You can stay here in the Zoom, of course, just close your eyes and remain unmuted. And when you feel ready, please feel free to offer one word of gratitude. It could be something from today, something from this circle or the previous one, something that you are taking with you, just whatever feels most alive in you right now. So we will keep our eyes closed, and everyone who wants to speak up, there is no rush and no order. Just whenever the word comes to you, feel free to say it. Amazing. So when you're ready.
Authenticity.
Return to innocence.
Solidarity.
I'm going to say, Louise said space to pay attention, and I say community.
I would like to say self-care.
I'll say courage.
Amazing.
They're
Thank you.
becoming.
Were you going to say one, Edna?
I don't know if you could hear me. I said becoming.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Alicia is saying internal, external alignment. Amazing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your honesty today and for your stories and for the trust that it takes to listen across the distances. And it's great that we are here to hear each other. I hope you all come to Circle 3 and looking forward to it.
Please unmute as you leave. Don't leave without saying bye. Whether it's in English, Spanish, Swahili, whatever language, just unmute so that we hear your voice one last time. Commit, thank you so much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Kwaheri.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. See you later.
Obrigado.
Obrigada.